I'm looking at the land use code. I've been reviewing it for, days on end now. And we just want to talk about a few misconceptions on the land use code, especially some of the accusations being made that us desert dwellers out here, quote unquote, are just out here disregarding the land use code. And we just want to violate it. We're just lawless people out here, right? So we've had people getting charged, getting told to remove rubbish, junk, trash, weeds, and brush of that nature. In the land use code currently, when we go to section 8.2, I believe, 8.2 refers to the authority to enforce, what the Costilla County Board has the authority to enforce. You can see here highlighted in pink is the removal of rubbish, junk, weeds, and brush or unsafe structures. This is a proposed land use code that is currently not adopted. Everything not in pink is the current land use code. So them just going around handing out violations and then summoning people to court and actually giving them charges for non-compliant violations to remove rubbish, junk, weeds, brush, or unsafe structures is actually unlawful according to their very own code. When we talk about the RVs, camping in RVs, staying in RVs, where we are particularly is a state residential, so I'll speak about that. What they have in here in section 5.3, I believe, let me verify that. Yeah, 5.3, review criteria for permits. It does state that we can only use an RV for a temporary dwelling, for travel, recreation, or vacation use. And we can only be on any particular parcel for 14 days during any consecutive 3-month period. They do have a camping permit currently being, on the books. It's $100 for 90 days. Since June, they haven't sold these. They're trying to get people to move out of these areas. They're not letting them camp while they build. Even if they're willing to pay for it. So it's not that we're not trying to abide by the county use code. It's that we're really just being made to be lawbreakers. They won't allow us to abide by the land use code out here.
One thing about the term junk, it's a relative term. Something could be labeled junk as well.
Sure.
I think we saw this a little bit with the case with Penny and Neil. And it could actually be someone's valuables they pulled from another state. It could be a little dirty looking to someone, but it may have a function. And so it seems like people can be, from looking at their case, sued, targeted, moved off their land because of a trash problem. But others are saying that they want to build a shed to put their stuff away,
right,
so it won't get stolen. These reports seem to be mounting that people are being told, for whatever reason, that they can't have storage units to protect their stuff. And people are baffled by that. And people don't understand why that is.
Okay, so in the land use code, I can say with confidence, there's nowhere that states that you must have first a primary residence before an accessory structure. The land use administrator of the county is solely responsible for deciding whether or not to permit a accessory structure larger than 120 square feet. That falls on the land use administrator. It doesn't fall on the county board of commissioners. It doesn't fall on the planning commission. That is one man that makes that decision, and it doesn't say anywhere that he has to have a primary residence on site before he gives that permit. So being denied permits for these structures also unlawful. Also just making us out to be lawbreakers because they will not allow us to build here. This is almost some Wild West being pushed out of the region type stuff.
I'm hearing reports of people trying to pay for the permits and being basically sent away. And it's on a lot of levels, more than what we can get into now, not just the RV thing, but permits for building. There are people saying they're trying to pay the permits and they're saying that they're just not going to issue them.
Right.
So it seemed to be like a story that isn't really being told, that side of the story. The permits that aren't being issued with people with the money in hand that actually came here from many states away with thousands of dollars. Now people are asking me, I have 15 grand. Is that enough to actually live in Costilla County? Now it's getting to the point where people are saying, okay, do I have enough knowing that we're at a new level of having to pay a lot more?
I mean, 15 grand's enough to pay the 10% on the loans you're going to need. You know, the land itself could be anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000. Then you've got another $5,000 for the septic. Then all your hookups, your water pumps, your well alone is around $20,000 out here. I mean, yeah, $15,000 will pay for the 10% down on the loans.
So things are definitely changing economically then in Costilla County when it comes to how much someone actually has to legally be on their land and have everything set up to go with the new regulations, and also the enforcement of those regulations that were already there before, as we talked about before the video,
right,
that they're just now enforcing. To discuss that a little bit, there may be some things that are passed, and this was 2013. It said up to 14 days. But for a while, people were just used to coming out here and basically living in freedom. So it's the way it should be. So it's kind of a shock to a lot of people that honestly want to be legal.
A lot of residents have been here for years. A lot of residents have lived their entire lives out here. And now some of these new regulations would force them out of the area. We're talking about the relocation of hundreds of people who live out here that the townspeople just don't seem to understand. They don't want to get to know us. They're not interested in getting to know us. They don't know what goes on out here. So all they have to hear is what's in their local media. And lately, all I've seen are slanderous articles.
What I would like to ask him to answer, in his own opinion, is, or just to get the narrative going too, the other woman, I forgot her name last night, but she said, "Bro, nobody's trying to change your codes. We're trying to stop them from being changed." And it hadn't even dawned on me, like, duh, like we are trying to not change.
I mean, if we can just address, like, if I could just address now, just the locals of San Luis, we're not trying to change your town. We're not trying to change the code. We're trying to ensure that the things stay as they are. If these code changes go through, and then we support the enforcement of these codes, what we're going to see is a drastic cultural shift. We're going to have migration of people from the prairie flooding into the towns now for support because they've been run out of their homes and everything they own. And then we're going to see people with substantial more wealth moving into these areas. They'll be the only ones who will be able to afford them. And things won't be the same for long. You know what I mean?
Can you say Walmart?
Can you say strip malls, casinos, perhaps? I mean, there's a lot of land out here and a lot of people with interest, with money. You know, things are going to be changing quick if we don't tell our county board of commissioners we don't want this type of change. We want to keep things as they are for now. Let the community members meet one another. Let's converse what kind of change, if any, it is that we want.
Do you think this is a deliberate attack on sustainable living in any way, shape, or form?
Do you think this is a deliberate attack on sustainable living?
Off-gridding, as they say.
It could be. I mean, off-gridders have been, shown in a very bad light these days.
Is that just in Colorado?
No, this is happening all over. The more and more of these grassroots efforts that pop up, we're definitely seeing a counterattack. We're seeing higher regulations being adopted across the board.
Does that have anything to do with them losing money on those ends?
Most definitely. Most definitely, because what we're seeing is that all these regulations have one thing in common, and they're all to attract more money. They're all to attract more people with money to those areas, and get those without out. Those who don't want to pay for their utilities, they don't want them in their counties. Those who don't want to pay for their sewage treatment, they don't want them in their counties.